Super BS.
Hola, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us right here. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos and Super BS Gamescast getting together once again. And who do we have here? When Brank's away, the mice will play. It is, of course, my good friend, Mr. Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
What is up? Yeah, we missed our Branky here at the Super BS / Pop Culture Cosmos, but he's off in a foreign land having himself a good time. So
Are you sure? Because I thought I heard you say before here we went on the air. Man, I'm so glad that guy's gone, man. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
so this is true. This is true. I just I know all he ever wants to do is talk about Avatar: The Way of Water, and I just had enough of that for right now. You know.
Speaking of Avatar, which I don't think would be coming out this year. Is it coming out this year? It might be.
No,
It
it's
could
next.
be.
I think it's next year, isn't it?
I'll take a look at the Avatar. Yeah, okay, you got that on. He's working on
Oh,
it.
you're right. December 19th, 2025.
Yes. Could it be on our most anticipated list of pop culture stuff, which includes games, movies, TV, and more? We're going to go ahead and talk about that on today's episode. But first, a big, long conversation on something that was only shown for 2.5 minutes. And that is the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, it's a very ambiguous release, and I'll bet the Nintendo's PR people are probably trying to figure out who leaked it, man. Because I guarantee you, they weren't planning on letting people know this was out there until this, you know, until they had a better plan formulated for discussing it. So, you see in the commercial they put together the Switch 2 itself. What do you think about the aesthetics of the Switch 2?
Well, first off, I mean, we kind of got wind of what the Switch 2 is going to look like at CES. One of the vendors there was frowned upon. Nintendo lawyers and executives, I think, or at least the lawyer part of it, were sent out there to CES just to go ahead and confront this company who got leaks on it and already had built accessories for it, which was hilarious. So that's a first off, but. First, again, I'm going to talk about with TJ Johnson as well. I know that my good friend from Australia, Mark, also wants to talk about it as well. It seems to be hitting the right note with a lot of people, but I'll just say this, my friend. I think in this case, with a system you have sold over 100 million units for, and quite possibly will go down as the biggest selling game console in history, why would you want to mess with a good thing? And I think that being safe with just a larger screen, probably going to be an OLED, maybe not. I don't know. My guess is that they should be. Then, of course, the magnetic Joy-Cons, the extra USB-C port, a little bit better stand on the back, some quality of life improvements on that. I'd say it's a smart move because I put it like this with TJ, and I'll just say this: when the system itself got announced and whatnot, I harkened back to the other successors and how they got to where they went as far as the successful run of the Wii came off the demise of the GameCube. The success of the Switch came at the demise of the Wii U. So their record as far as doing something very dramatic when they go into a completely, I guess, a right turn, as they have done on occasion, isn't always successful for them. So why mess with a good thing, Josh? Why mess with a good thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the we learned very little from this commercial that came out. We did learn also that there is apparently a new Mario Kart in development because that's
Maybe.
maybe because that track and some of the other things in there did not look familiar at all to anybody on the internet. So that is the assumption right now.
But did it look that far in advance to not be maybe possibly a remaster of Mario Kart 8 and instead of being Mario Kart 9? I'm assuming it's probably going to be Mario Kart 9, but it wasn't that,
I
you
feel like
know,
Mario Kart 8's been milked like dry though.
okay. Okay. All right. I hear
Uh,
you.
So who knows? I mean, it could be, could maybe could not be. Maybe it's just some concept footage made up for the Switch 2 reveal. But the Switch 2 itself, the console, I think looks really nice, and it kind of reminds me a little bit about a lot of these like handheld PC systems that we're seeing out and about now.
Mhm.
I don't I don't know like what the full specs of the system are yet, so I don't know if it's going to be capable of like playing in 4K or what that looks like. But I'm on board, assuming I'm going to be able to get one because like we're living in this era now. I mean, look at how difficult it was to get the Series X and the PS5s when they first came out because the scalpers were out there. So you're going to have these people trying to get these Nintendo Switches, and they're going to be online probably for about $800-900 because these businesses don't know how to manage these scalpers coming out with their bots.
Yeah. I agree with you there. That's going to be the big issue. But as I've already said with TJ, I'm not going to be in a rush to buy. I don't have a need for it. I mean, this is going to be this is a great time for handhelds
Yeah.
because with all the handhelds that came out last year or in the past 24 months, and then what's upcoming, I'm waiting for a new Steam, waiting for a new Rogue Ally. Xbox is the one I'm really looking forward to see what they could do if the true rumors are true and they come out with a handheld of their own.
Yeah.
There are several companies that at CES that introduced their own line of handhelds. Lenovo had like several to choose from as far as what do you want one with Linux? Do you want one that does with Steam? Do you want one that does Windows? It had several different variations of it. So the handheld market to me is getting even more robust. And in doing so, do I want a handheld that's only going to give me what I project to be PS4 level graphics? That's the thing I have coming to grips here. I know I'll probably have to get it at some point in time because there'll be a Pokemon game that my girls won't want me to pass up. So I know
That's
at
it
some point in
there,
time.
yeah. It's the
Yeah,
exclusives like that, like you said with Pokemon, that's gonna be what gets people into buying these things, man. But I guess, like, to see what happens right off the bat, though, it's all gonna rely heavily on launch titles.
yeah. And that's the well, I think it's just the name Nintendo Switch 2 is going to sell well through the holidays.
Mhm.
But you're right. I think those, whatever the quality of games that are attached to it when they initially come out the first year is going to dictate after the first year exactly how well it sells going forward. Will the switch to, that's what I'm interested in seeing. I don't know either which way yet. I know online there's like people that say this is great that it's not a huge step up, that they could still make sure that they can put their original Nintendo Switch software, make it still available for it in most cases. Yeah, that's all well and good, but I just don't know yet how well it will do. I'm still on the fence on saying that this is a slam dunk home run. It's going to be in the upper echelon of sales, like the Nintendo 64 and the Wii and the Switch, or will it go along the lines of the GameCube and Wii U 2? I don't know yet, Josh, because it's really
Yeah.
hard to figure that out because I like I said, because the fact it's still so far behind whatever processor it's going to have out there, it's so far behind what other processors are doing already. I'm just wondering if that will impact the market for Switch 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a better question too, though. Like, if you're with Nintendo Switch, would it have made more sense to not do a handheld version and do like a just like straight up box, and then have kind of like what PlayStation did with the was it the backbone, where you could play, stream stuff from the PlayStation to the handheld. In that way, they could get that processing power out of the Nintendo. But also, I don't think Nintendo is really cares that much about processing power right now, because
It
they
never has. It
they
really never has.
right, and all they seem to care about though is it's their exclusives, and like as long as they're making exclusives, people will dump money out to buy these consoles because they want to play the latest Mario, the latest Donkey Kong, they want to play Metroid, they want to play Zelda, like all of these games. uh it's just it's so strange to me that the console exclusive principles, I guess, don't apply to PlayStation or Xbox in the same manner that they do to Nintendo.
No, they never do. It's just so weird because, we've always been, as a society, predicated on what's the biggest, the baddest, the most powerful. And, you know, it hasn't always worked out. The most powerful system in each generation hasn't necessarily won the console war. It's been based a lot off the software. And like you said, if there's another Mario Kart 8 or a Legend of Zelda that they throw out there that's just gonna just wow audiences, then no matter how underpowered it is compared to its handheld brethren, it's gonna do gangbusters like the previous version.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking on this though, like what do you predict? Throw 5 possible launch titles at me. What do you think?
Wow, Metroid. I think that's the only way you'll sell Metroid.
Yeah.
Well, the Wii version actually did sell well. Underrated, these sell well. But yeah, it's not a staple. Even though it is a staple in the Nintendo library, it isn't a staple because it's not. It's just not one of those marquee names a lot of the general consumer goes for.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say if it does sell well, you got to go ahead and release it as a launch title, a Metroid. And then, of course, Mario Kart 9 would probably be the thing if it is a Mario Kart 9 and not a Mario Kart 8 upgrade. So I'm going to say Mario Kart 9. Do you throw a Mario at it
I
this soon?
think yeah, I mean, I think that we haven't seen a mainline Mario game since Odyssey, right? And that was 2017.
Hmm.
So what better way to get people excited about this new console than to throw out a new mainline Mario game, whether it's Odyssey 2 or something completely different? I feel like that has to be a launch title.
Okay. The only reason why I say is because it's just, I just worry sometimes about um, if you have a Mario, you throw everything on the kitchen sink up front.
Yeah.
Is it going to get everybody's attention? Because Mario has been around for so long. Zelda still seems to fascinate audiences. I still think it's still fresh. Mario in recent years has had a lot of hits, but some misses as well. So I guess you're right. A new mainline Mario is still the standby that they can go off of. And so if they do that, or the Mario Kart 9, it seems like Mario Kart 9, just based off the footage that they have,
Yeah.
will probably be one of their frontline games coming out when they release it.
Yeah, I mean, I what do you think about a possible Star Fox title?
Mm,
'Cause, I mean, they have
I
to come
don't know.
out guns blazing here.
I don't know. I mean, I would like it for nostalgia purposes, but I just don't think it'll sell. I think it appeals to you and I, but the audience of today, the younger audiences, because that's why the Switch has really done well. The Switch has been a console for younger generations, people in their 20s now. Um, Probably grew up with a Switch in their hands during their teen years and younger years. So I I don't know if it really resonates with an audience like them, but for us, a remaster, if you keep it at a decent price, like $30 might do, or do you want an all new adventure?
I was thinking an all new adventure, but also like as we've seen with the leak for the Switch 2, you can't make anything without people finding out about it. So
Mhm.
I'm looking at Mario and Star Fox and these as like pipe dreams. I think Metroid is a very probable title, possibly a Pokemon game, though I don't think Pokemon has ever been a launch title for anything, and I don't know if that's that's a move Nintendo is willing to make. But I really hope that when we see this was this Switch showcase or whatever, I think it's either this week or next week, that we will be blown away by what we see.
Well, I hope so. Is the Switch developers coming out this week, or is it just the Xbox?
Let's see, Switch.
I thought it was later on in March, or something a little bit down the road.
Maybe. I don't know. I just remember
Yeah,
seeing a thing for it.
no worries, no worries. But yeah, I was just wondering about that. So
It's April 2nd.
yeah, there you go. All right. But yeah, can't wait to see what they'll come out with. I'm sure there between now and then there's going to be lots of speculation on exactly what is going to come out with day and date the Switch.
Yeah.
Um, which ports will come out day and date with the Switch. I think that's also something you have to discuss is what ports will come out day and date with the Switch. Because if I was a port maker, or if I was a company who has a game out that's coming out this year or came out last year, I would that didn't come out on the Switch, I would very much like to target that Switch opening date for a port for my game.
Yeah. Well, also bigger question here is, along the line of ports are you going to be able to keep all of your old market purchases, or is it going to be another like we marketplace thing all over again? They haven't been specific about that. I think with Switch 2, if I remember correctly, they said it's backwards compatible, so I think that's fine.
Yes.
But the your purchases, are they going to transfer over, or are you going to have to start over with those?
That's a good question. So we're definitely gonna have to see if that plays itself out, my friend. But yeah, I'm interested, but I'm not going to rush out and buy one right away. I'm not a day one purchase. I know that people have asked me, "Are you a day one purchase?" And I'm going to have to say no. I wasn't a day one purchase for the Switch, anyways. I waited until I needed it for review download reviews, and also my girls wanted it for their specific purposes for their games that they wanted to go ahead and enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna hold off on it. I mean, I'm speculating the price to be around 350 $400. I think if it's OLED, it'll be $400. Do you think it'll be worth it?
I mean, I think it will. Especially as time goes on and more things come out for it. I'm predicting a price of 499. That's where my
Wow.
head's at right now.
Wow. If it does come out that high, I think it'll have a hard time selling. Personally, I think that'll be to
Is the
Nintendo's
the
detriment.
OLED is 399 right now, right? If I remember
Mhm.
correctly. So
No, it's 2.99. Is it two
is it
three ninety nine
no, because the
or
standard one is 299. The OLED, I'm pretty
okay.
sure is 399.
Okay. All right. Well, 500 for a handheld PS4 level or Xbox One game as far as the quality. Yeah, that's and
So yeah, it's
Nintendo's not going to
definitely-
be yeah, unless there's a severe backlash, Nintendo's not going to lower the price anytime soon. So,
no, no, they won't.
yeah, that's ooh, yeah. Good
We'll
thing I'm not
see.
in a hurry for it.
We'll see. Yep. Who knows, man? Who knows? But I'm sure in April we'll know more. But how many things you think are going to be leaked before we get to that showcase date?
Oh my gosh, we'll get something on an every day, every week basis at least, my friend.
I'm
So
sure.
I think
I'm sure.
there'll be a ton of stuff. But you didn't tell me what your thoughts on it. Did you like what you saw? Is it the wider screen? Is it more of what you are enjoying already? Is it something you were asking for? Let
Yeah.
us
I
know.
mean, it's sleek. Like I like the look of it. I
Mhm.
don't know. I mean, I want to know more about it before I commit to buy. I mean, I'm probably gonna end up buying one, but I don't know, man. Like besides the exclusives, like there's not really a different like. What do you want? And do you care more about the exclusives, or would you rather have one of the other handhelds where you can actually play? a bigger plethora of games on it. So I mean, I guess that's the big question. But again, like the exclusive sell and Nintendo's a very weird case of exclusives being the reason to buy a very dumbed down console.
Yeah, that's why I'm like very a little bit hesitant to go ahead and say I'm gonna jump out and buy it because it, like you said, if we're gonna be calling it a dumbed down console still, which most handhelds are, they just don't have uh, usually the capabilities in many cases. Although the Rogue Ally and the Steam Deck have really bridged that gap quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to be hard for me to say I'm going to go and get that game or I'm going to go ahead and get that handheld right away, unless there's some really, really interesting games that are going to come along with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, time will tell. And again, like we might not even be able to get our hands on these for maybe a year after it comes out because that scalping market is so bad, and these websites where you can buy things from have not figured out how to get rid of these bots. And same thing, like GameStop always takes a bunch of pre-orders in, but they never know how many they're actually going to get allocated. So
Or
I
do you
mean,
have to they have to put expensive bundles with it. So it'll be
right,
like,
yeah,
let's
we
say it's your
yeah,
$500 handheld, and then you have to bundle it, buy it with games and accessories you don't necessarily want, and it jacks up the price because that's where they make the profit because they don't make it on the profit on the handheld initially.
yeah, exactly. And that's what we talked about. Remember, Best Buy used to do that. They put the game, the controller, the charging station, the protection plan. So by the time you're buying this $300 console, but by the time you took it home with all the stuff, you're paying upwards, $500-600 for it, which is crazy.
Exactly. Now, online, I don't think you can get out of it, but if you're in the store, I think you can specifically by law in most states ask for a separation of it and just buy the specific thing that you want. I believe that you can, but yeah, for most people won't. They're just going to be in a too hurry. Little Jimmy wants to switch to. You
Yeah,
got to go ahead and buy little Jimmy that switch to, no matter what the cost, no matter what, um, dare I say, crap is thrown along with it. So,
yeah, yep. And that's usually what it is. You got all the crap.
hmm but no, man, that's great thoughts from you on that. Truly appreciate you asking about what's going on with the Switch and hearing your thoughts with the Switch too. I mean, if people have their questions out there, you can always hit us up on the Super BS Gamescast or Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. But one last thing, my friend. I mean, well over 100 and what, 150 billion sold. I mean, it's a gaudy number that's out there. It's like the PS4. The PS4 went over a certain threshold recently, and Nintendo Switch is not too far behind it. I think Nintendo Switch is still going to, in the long run, probably end up being the biggest selling console of all time. But let me ask you this: well do you think, just as a guess, it will do over its lifespan?
The Nintendo Switch 2, like how many units it's going
Mm-hmm.
to sell?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! All right, I need a baseline. Well, how many did the Switch? Sorry, the Wii sell?
What we sold? What, over 100 itself? I'm assuming it seemed like it. That's all I could tell you off the top.
1.63 mil. Oh, geez. How do you get a
That's
0.63 million units sold? I mean, what is it? Do you sell like half a console? All right. Anyways,
uh,
I think that it will do. I think it'll do over 100 million for sure. Um,
mm.
I think it relies heavily on whether or not it's going to have the capability to use apps like Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and stuff like that on it because that will push people, I think, away from the Xbox and into this, Xbox PlayStation territory and into the Switch. Because a lot of people, the Xbox is just a paperweight. It's a glorified streaming player. And I think if the Switch is going, or sorry, yeah, if the Switch 2 will offer those things, I think that it will definitely go over 100 million sold.
All right. Well, again, that's something obviously we'll continue to monitor and check out over the course of the weeks, months, and years. But it is, of course, the Switch 2. It's coming out supposedly 2025. When do you think it'll actually be coming out, my friend? That's what I want to ask you. when do you think is the target date for this behemoth known as the Switch 2?
I'm gonna say August, September, somewhere in there.
Really? I'm
Mm.
gonna go there. That's a good thing because it's right before the holidays. Yeah, they got to do that. Maybe if there's some supply issues, maybe they're going to plan it ahead. I'm going to say May, June,
All
just
right.
so maybe they can work out some of the logistics before the holidays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Smart.
yeah. hmm
Yeah.
So
We'll
def
see, man.
yeah,
We'll see.
we will see. But I think that's a very good thoughts there from Josh, and hopefully you will go ahead and let us know your thoughts on the Switch 2. I know that I still have again more people that want to talk about the Switch 2. You'll hear that in the coming weeks, days, and months. But please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. And also, as well, of course, what's going on with the Super BS Games cast as well. So, your thoughts, my friend, on what the Switch 2 is all about. Always glad to hear it. But there's still a lot of stuff you want to talk about. What's upcoming in the year 2025, my friend?
Um, I don't hold on. I don't have a list or anything. We talked about this a little bit last week.
Well, geez, let me ask you this. Let me start your conversation off like this. GTA 6. Yay or nay? Has your mind changed from what we talked about with GTA 6?
It hasn't, man. I'm like, I don't like Grand Theft Auto is not my thing. Maybe I'll give it a whirl when it comes out. It depends on how excited I get, but I don't like those games that much, man. Like they're just not my style. Like I played, what was the last one to come out? The one that came out on the Xbox One. It was
2013, 2014, in that range. So,
yeah, which one was that? Was that called just Grand Theft Auto
5.
5? Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean I bought that. I remember buying it and playing it for a little bit, but I fell off, man. I'm more of a single player role playing game type of person.
Okay, but I wanted to ask you if that's the case. If do you feel that it's a definite for this year? Because especially with the Switch 2 now coming out.
Um I mean, it's hard to, I was listening to a podcast a while back, and they're saying that the one of the developers behind Grand Theft Auto said it was a 2026 title at the earliest. So I
Okay,
don't know where that leaves it, but we'll time will tell.
I think it's coming out this year because of the Switch 2. I think they're going to shoehorn
Do you think it'll
a
be on
version of it
Switch
on the
too?
Switch.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
Remember GTA 5 found its way to the Switch. Anything can find its way to the Switch 2 at this point. So
This is very true. All right, let me ask you a question here. Do you think that the Switch 2 is going to have some sort of like Xbox Games Pass capabilities on it?
I would like it to happen, but I'm not sure that love fest between Nintendo and uh, Xbox is that far yet. If it does, it may change my mind about getting a Nintendo Switch 2 sooner. But I would love for that to happen, but I'm not sure it will. I'm gonna probably say no.
Because Phil Spencer wants that Xbox on literally everything. Like if he could put it on those smart refrigerators, he probably would.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I'm thinking it won't, but I would be genuinely surprised and very happily surprised if that's the case. Because Games Pass, see, I don't know if that's the case. You'd have to figure out how to way to. Well, they have to do that for smart TVs, anyways. How to dumb down the whatever you're playing on the cloud. Let's
Yeah,
say you're playing Indiana Jones: The Great Circle. It looks great and fantastic on the PC and on the Xbox, you know, Xbox Series S and X. Now, is it going to, how does it work as far as the dumbing down on cloud systems? When you play it on your smart TV, when you play it on your Fire, for instance,
you get
you know,
that
it
constant refreshing wave
yeah,
that goes from the bottom top of the screen to the bottom of it.
They've got practice, so maybe they have figured out a way to put it on the Switch too. So if that's the case, I'm more susceptible to getting a Switch 2 if that's the case.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's jump into something that's been all over the news recently. Halo on PlayStation. So I know we've talked about this briefly in the past, but this has been kind of a big news story because they're expecting to make this announcement any day now. So do you think that there's any truth to this?
Yeah, I think so. In the end, they're now making a complete right turn. Halo is not as much as you and I, as Xbox
But
fanboys,
Halo specifically though, like that's the one that
yeah,
they are really pushing for, it seems.
it's the one that I think I'm going to have to say that it's going to have to go on because Halo is Halo is a dying legacy IP, Josh, and the Xbox has themselves only to blame for it because they didn't keep up the level of greatness for that system. Had Halo been at the same level as it was before, as it is today, we would not be talking about Xbox games going on every other system or
Yeah.
Xbox being everywhere. We would be talking about Xbox being at a competitive or possibly being above the PlayStation 5 level because of it. Because, hey, they have only have themselves to blame with the Halo 4, Halo 5, and Halo Infinite not
Okay.
resonating with audiences.
I was about to ask you which games you think Halo went wrong at?
Oh, it at 4 went off the deep end. 5 wasn't any better, and Halo Infinite is a game that's like it's an okay game, but the problem is it's an okay game. And even though putting Halo Infinite multiplayer in a free format was a smart idea, it just hasn't resonated with audiences
No.
because it's just Halo is something Halo has not aged well. Mario seems to have aged well. Zelda has seemed to age well over the decades. Halo is something I think that a lot of younger audiences see as something that my dad, my mom, my grandparents used to like and not me. And I think that
Yeah.
that's the problem.
I understand that. That's like Halo was it's your dad's shooter, it's not a
Mhm. But
it's
let me
not
ask you this, what a better way to reintroduce it to a new audience than bring out the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, and not just that though. You're also going to see a lot of people go back and play it again on the PlayStation just for the
Mhm.
sake of getting the trophies for that game. So I think it's only going to help. It's going to bring in new fans and it's going to reinvigorate you know old fans too. I'm with you. I think Halo 4 went off the deep end. It was exciting and I appreciated where they were going. Um, I remember being excited when the game came out and seeing all the getting to actually dive into that story of the Forerunners was, it was cool, but at the same time, it was the story had its head so far up its butt that you had no idea like what it just seemed to run in circles, kind of like the television show. They didn't really know like what kind of story they were telling. They were making up as they go. And then with
Mhm.
5, you had to have read like what 3 or 4 books in between 4 and 5 to understand what what the heck happened in the beginning of 5. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you here? What happened to all the story, the narratives threads that were laid out in Halo 4? Like, it just none of it made any sense. It was very, very, very lazy. Whereas like
Yeah.
Halos 1 through 3, I mean, and even Halo Wars, like there was a lot of lore in there that was like really fascinating. Like it was a sci-fi show, or not a sci-fi show. It was a sci-fi story that I would have loved to see made properly into like a show or series of movies. But yeah, 4 and 5 definitely didn't do anything for me. Infinite was cool, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they go back to that day. I know they're working on something new right now, but how will they how will they go back to what made Halo so great? And knowing that is putting Halo the Master Chief Collection on the PlayStation necessarily the right move, because you still have packaged in there all those really crappy games that came out, post Bungie.
Absolutely. But maybe some hidden secrets that they can find, like Halo Reach and Halo ODST, among others. So,
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I'm trying to think like what is
but that will come out. I think that will come out this year on PlayStation 5, and then a Gears of War. If it does sell, if it sells well, a Gears of War collection next year, in
yeah,
anticipation of Gears of War E-Day next year.
yeah,
You
yeah.
heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Other thing floating around the news today was or this week was Sony shutting down a bunch of projects by Blue Point, and most notable, what am I trying to say? Most noticeable of these things was the God of War live service game. How in the world would you do something like that?
It's well, remember the previous head of PlayStation. It really was into at that time in the late 20s teens because live service had really become a thing, and of course we saw the first wave of Fortnite love coming that way. I would probably say that that's when they were told, about the commission to ultimately see what we saw as far as all those games of live service nature for PlayStation in development, and you can see
Yeah.
none of them have worked so far outside of the support they gave for Helldivers 2. So if that's the case, that's what happened. I mean, that they're thank God they, pardon the pun, they removed the God of War live service game because I think it would have just fallen flat in his face. But how much money was spent? At least they didn't do the same thing they did for Concord, because Concord, again, that was sent to die. As many things that PlayStation done over the years, one of the things they're very good at is sending movies. Well, Sony as a whole, movies or games. They are good at sending some things right to the shelf to die, and I'm glad that this never got to see the light of day.
Yeah, I read about that, and I'm thinking to myself, how in the world would you look at that and think that that's a good idea? That's the best way to take like one of your number one selling IPs and make people hate it.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, what do you think we're gonna be? What do you think we're gonna be getting from as far as like Sony first party titles? So we talked about game releases last week, but none of that was any first party Sony title. So what do you think coming up in 2025 that we might be seeing?
Well, Avowed is coming up. That's some of my anticipated. I can't as far as game is concerned.
Like,
Television.
okay,
Oh, go ahead, my
I'm
friend.
talking about like from Sony though. Like
Oh,
Sony,
from Sony.
we had to like guess like what what titles would we be seeing from Sony coming out, and and from their first party lineup.
Well, hopefully it's not something else as Horizon Zero Dawn. Um, but I think I've had my fill of Horizon Zero Dawn for 1 decade.
Yeah,
My guess, probably, if I had to say something PlayStation related, if they were to bring out anything, that's a good question. Of their entire library, I would probably say maybe some remasters. If they don't have anything big, if they bring out remasters, that tells me they don't have anything big that's ready to go.
yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now. If they let's say a Resistance
Oh, that'd be so
series
great.
remaster,
Yeah,
or just some type of series that they have from the past, as far as Days Gone remaster or something like that. I would probably say that's what I would assume is probably easier, quicker for them to turn out, and it tells me all I need to know. I mean, what the Ghosts of Tsushima
that's not
sequel that's coming up.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
stand correct. I mean, I forgot there were two mentioned. There was the Ghost of Yotai and the Death Stranding sequel. But
okay.
neither of those are currently dated to actually come out in 2025. Like they may or may not make a 2025 release date. We don't know yet.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm hopeful for a that I mean, like you said, a resistance new resistance game would be cool. Um, yeah, I mean they just kind of they have a greatest hits catalog and they put out almost that entire catalog in 2023. So I don't know how close we would be to seeing something new like a a new God of War title. I think Days Gone. I think they didn't want to move forward with any sequels to that one. I don't think we're gonna be seeing any new Final Fantasies this year. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's it might maybe it's just gonna be Ghost of Yotai and
Bunch of
one
remasters.
bunch of remasters. Yeah, it's hard to say. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
but
man,
yeah,
that's it. That's it. Yeah.
which means to me, Xbox still has this open window of really a chance to. I don't say sell consoles at this point. I'm not sure anything can sell or move consoles the way that we would like it to happen for the Xbox side. But
Yeah.
Xbox really has a right now the time to go ahead and position themselves back into the forefront of gaming again. I mean, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was a success, but I still think that they did a horrible job in promoting it, and I think they're
Yeah.
waiting to do so until it comes out on PlayStation 5, which is absolutely insane to me.
Yeah.
But all right, whatever. It just
We'll see.
yeah, it's that would typify my expectations on Xbox there if that's the case. But Avowed, like I said, a lot of people are now on board with Avowed. There's so I mean, you've talked about other Xbox games that you're looking forward to that are coming out this year. Fable at the end of the year, that's going to be their big holiday release, supposedly, if all goes well. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. So.
Um, something else crazy happened today was we talked about no, we didn't talk about this. TikTok, right? TikTok being shut down.
Mhm.
I think the
Mhm.
original controversy was that it was it owned by a Chinese company, right? And they thought that they were
Yeah, it's
using all
ByteDance. Yes, it's
yeah, and they
owned by
thought they
ByteDance, and they have not sold. It did get banned for about, 12 hours,
yeah,
and it is, back up online, so
it was back
much
up
to do about
online.
nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was they weren't gonna be able to keep it down. But what's
Yeah.
crazy is that we TikTok is actually they own ByteDance or no, their parent
Marvel
company,
Snap.
ByteDance, yeah, Marvel Snap, that's what I was getting at. Marvel Snap, when TikTok was banned, Marvel Snap was effectively banned, so I guess the servers went offline for a while today too. So, um, I don't know, very, very interesting how this whole TikTok thing has played out. How important do you think TikTok is for the modern, pop culture landscape?
170 million users, so that in America.
Yeah,
So if that's the case, that to me signals just how important it is. And all the money that's generated from it, I think that in the end, money dictates everything, as I talked about with TJ when we briefly mentioned it. And
yeah,
I think that it's something that yeah, something that ultimately was the decision. As 170 million users in America, a lot of which are younger audiences that you want to keep happy.
yeah.
So yeah, this is we live in a TikTok generation, and it would really be hard to live in a TikTok generation without TikTok.
No TikTok. That's right, man. Yeah. Kind of summarizes a week in gaming. You got any pop culture news you want to talk about here?
Well, yeah, I mean, some of our most anticipated for pop culture, I think, with the time we have left, my friend, some of the things that we're excited for, I wanted to go ahead and mention. Well, one of them already came out, my friend, this past week. As and I want to apologize to you on a personal level because you're going to hear this at nauseum over the course of 2025. Severance on Apple TV Plus is
That's
back.
right.
That was one of my most anticipated. Episode one is down. It was really really good. To I mentioned with you, I think it was you and Melinda. I both said when we talked about it in 2022, I said it was one of the best season ones of this century on television.
Yeah.
And season two started off with the same kind of mystery that I was looking forward to, and what intrigued me about this show in the first place. So I'm really happy with the start of it, and I look forward to annoying you and Melinda in weeks to come, and to try and nag you two to go ahead and get the Apple TV Plus free somehow to go ahead and watch Severance. So
I
there you
got
go.
it, man. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to watch it at some point. I know Ben Stiller was talking
It's
about
only
how
9 episodes, my friend.
only
Only
9
nine.
episodes.
Yes. So
Oh,
there you go.
sorry. I
It's
will
not
tell
like I'm
you
asking
this.
you to watch the old broadcast television days where it was 22, my friend. So come on,
This is
you
true.
can do it.
The shorter seasons are definitely a lot easier to take. But
Right.
they've
The
already
Marvel
announced
slate.
that's yeah, I mean there's already between we got Thunderbolts, right? And Fantastic Four and
Can we say Marvel is back, or Marvel wants to be back? How about that?
I'd say they want to be back. It's
Okay.
going to be touch and go. I think we're gonna have to wait and see what each offering has
Hmm.
before we say, yeah, they are truly back in form. Because I think what is the first thing coming out? It's Brave New World, right?
Hmm.
And that's not one I'm crazy excited about, but I am excited about the Thunderbolts. Like I really like that stack of characters. I really like.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's the thing. I'm just wondering what it will be for Marvel, but I'm excited for all three movies.
Yeah.
So I think that it will be something that I'm looking forward to seeing all three movies. I have a level of excitement all three, but all three are like, I want to see that. I want to see that. And then of course, Mr. Daredevil himself. I don't
I
want to
wanted to talk
be.
to you about that. Yes.
Yes. So let's go ahead. Go ahead, my friend. So.
Oh, so excited. So I if you notice the filming style is different, right? It went
Mhm.
from what made it good on Netflix was the fact that it had that like gritty, I'm gonna say it, man, like my color palettes, but it had that gritty tone to it, like yeah, your really dark colors, dark reds, dark um dark grays, things like that. That really brought made the city seem like this really sinister place. But you look at the trailer for Born Again, you've got that really Disney Marvel cinematic look to it where everything's a lot brighter, but there's also a lot more quality to it. So I'm excited that they made the Netflix stuff like pure continuity, and they have Bullseye is back, and Foggy, Nelson, and Karen, and people like that. But
And the Punisher.
and the Punisher. But like I am excited to see this like budget increase and see what they do with this. Like this is Daredevil is an absolutely amazingly fascinating character, and I cannot wait to see what this show has to offer. What are your thoughts though? I mean, I don't know if we've ever talked about Daredevil much here.
Please, you used to rave about it all the time on Netflix
I
back in the day.
did, but
Back in the day.
I don't know if you and I like we sometimes we watch shows and we do our reviews on it. I don't know if we ever did that with Daredevil. What are your
No, we
thoughts?
did. We didn't go too adept. You left. I had not seen it at that time yet. I watched it later
Okay.
on down the road. But yes, I did catch up on it. There was some epic fights. The violent tone and nature was really good.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it. Not quite the level you did, but I still enjoyed it. And Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin character absolutely steals every scene.
Yeah.
And I know that in Melinda's case, that's I'm so excited to have him back, Kingpin. She was like, excited when we talked about it the other day. I will say this, my friend. I think it was a smart move that Kevin Feige looked at it, didn't like what he saw from those first 5 or 6-ish episodes, and I think that it was a good move to not do the broadcast 22 episode season that they had originally planned. If you
Yeah.
remember, yeah, I think it was a really smart move for them to go ahead and restructure it and have something out there that's going to be able to I think connect more with a wider audience, which is the ultimate goal. But I do like the fact that they are respecting so much that the Netflix show did, that they aren't just sweeping it under the rug. I'm really happy for them that they are, although we could use a different Iron Fist. I will just leave it
Yeah,
at
that's
that.
what I was gonna ask you. I know, what's his name? The whoever played Danny Rand, something Finn. He teased a comeback, and so did
Yeah,
Jessica
Finn
Jones.
Jones or something like that.
Finn Jones, that's right, and so did Jessica Ritter, and
Oh, she's coming back. Yeah,
yeah, and no one said anything about Luke Cage yet, so I don't know if he's gonna be coming back, but
he he has said he is going to try. He said his schedule is something that's going to really be difficult for him to work with, but he probably will make an appearance on the shows, not this season, but at some point he will be back in the universe. But it's been an issue of success for him
yeah,
with his schedule. So it's not something that the producers don't want him. It's, I think, believe from what I'm able to read and watch, it's the fact that he himself has is so busy that it's going to be hard to squeeze Marvel in sometimes. So
yeah, I get that. Marvel is a machine, as we all know. Um,
yes.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a. I hope that it is good because like you said, it's good that Kevin Feige came in, looked at, it and said like, "Oh, we need to change some things." Because if they didn't, and that Daredevil ended up being bad, can you imagine like just the storm that the angry writers that Marvel would have on their hands?
Let me ask you this though. Speaking of Marvel, which movie are you most excited about? Are you excited about all three that are coming out, meaning Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and then Fantastic Four? That movie, the early years or whatever it's called. Um, are you excited about all three, and which one are you excited for the most?
Mm, so I'm excited about Thunderbolts right now. Fantastic Four. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Mhm. Can't get any
Brave
worse
New
than the previous versions. Come on,
Yeah,
the
that's
bar's been
true.
set pretty low in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that remake was just truly awful.
Even the original ones were in the early 2000s were very campy. You gotta admit that.
Questionable. Yeah. Yeah, Rise of the Silver Surfer was okay, it wasn't terrible. The first one was, like, pretty bad. It felt like a 45-minute movie. But yeah, I mean, Brave New World, I don't really have any interest in watching it, man. I don't wanna, like,
Really.
sound disrespectful to it, but, like, I am just Captain America is not, especially in the form of the Falcon and not the Chris Evans version. I'm just not that interested, man. Like I will watch it and I could have my mind changed and my idea be of it be shifted, but I don't know. I just like I don't have any interest as of right now in that character.
Well, it's not going to overstay its welcome because it's already the runtime has been reported at under 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a quick hit. I think I'm the one out of all of us, Melinda, you, anybody else has been most excited for it. I think really the storyline is what I'm seeing is to me something that's been rather appealing.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of the Winter Soldier vibes and
Mhm.
tension from it, which has excited me about it. I think of the three, it's the one I'm excited about most. Thunderbolts. I think I was watching Looper yesterday. Okay, get this thing. If you watch the Looper YouTube channel, they had this most movies that they think are going to do terrible or bomb in 2025, and they had Thunderbolts on the list. I
Really?
disagree. I think it will be a movie that I think does well. How well, I'm not so sure because that's the Suicide Squad. These conglomerates that come together, these mashups that come together. You're not sure how they're going to make, but it looks like a lot of fun, and I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. And then it's Fantastic Four for me. That Looper video also as well. I got to bash them because they talked about Snow White being one of the worst or most likely bombs, which I can possibly agree upon because I know that those CGI dwarfs are killing everybody on the internet. But they referred it to bombs like Wish and Soul. And I was like, Wish was a bomb, absolutely. But Soul was released during the pandemic and
Yeah.
it garnered, and I was reading up on this, 1.7 billion views in its
Yeah.
initial 24 hours. That doesn't seem like a bomb to me, but again,
No.
I
No, it
think
doesn't.
Looper, you get a shout out for not doing your research, but I'll leave it at
Yeah.
that. But the thing I think I want to talk about before we head on out that I know you need to spend some time on is DC and the DC slate. I am very unsure about the DC slate. However, you are unsure about some things that we've talked about today. I am so unsure about this slate coming up. I know people are excited about Superman even more than the Marvel movies. We've seen this, we've gone down this road before where people are like hugely excited over DC over Marvel because of a Superman movie. Your thoughts, my friend? Are you excited and in anticipation for the Superman movie coming up this year?
Man, I'm torn on this because like Henry Cavill, I think, is my generation Superman. David Corn something or other was who's playing it now.
Yeah, he's
I
got
this
that long
movie,
name.
yeah, this movie seems very busy. Like Man of Steel told a very straightforward story about Superman. You know, whether or not people
And you
enjoyed
are
it.
a defender of Man of Steel. So let me just
I
predicate everyone with
love
that.
Man of Steel, but this movie seems very busy, like, with the inclusion of Hot Girl and Green Lantern, and, I forgot the other
Seems like
guy's
50
name.
characters. Yeah, there's 50
Yeah,
characters seemingly in it, and like 100 Easter eggs that they're going to drop in it. So
yeah, and you know what? Like,
it's supposed to be serving a lot of things.
James Gunn, I think, is fine, but he focuses too much on being funny than he does on his storytelling. Like, it worked in Guardians of the Galaxy because the characters were funny, right? They were funny, and the soundtrack, like, all the pieces came together to tell a really good story. Suicide Squad, I thought, was a crap movie. The last one to come. Actually, they were both pretty bad, but, I thought
Really,
that
the last one I thought last one was good.
I didn't like
Not
it, man.
super good, but just good.
It was it
I'm
was
it's I
it
don't have
was
a difference. I don't have a King Arthur difference with you on it, but
Yeah,
I'll
it was
just leave
just
it at
too
that.
over the top for me, and I think
Okay.
that is what I fear is going to be happening with Superman, and
I
I
just think
don't.
he's using this movie to build up his entire universe, and I think it's asking too much.
Yeah. And there's a lot of thing continuity-wise that still doesn't make sense, like, how can you have pieces of the Snyderverse but not have other pieces of the Snyderverse? Like, they're keeping Amanda Waller, they're keeping the Suicide Squad stuff, like, how can you have all of that, and how are they gonna explain everything? So that's kinda where I'm at with it right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, my friend, those are some great suggestions. I think you and I will be having a lot of stuff over the course of the year. We'll be anticipating because things are uh, back as far as no writer strike, uh, no more dealing with COVID and COVID issues. This is probably
Yeah,
going to be the first full year you don't have any of those delays. So we're going to be able to really anticipate things and actually get these things. So we're going to anticipate outside of GTA 6. I think everything that we've talked about, I think is a definite sure thing. GTA
yeah.
6 again is a wild card in that, but uh, I'm really looking forward to it. But any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out of this great episode? We were worried about coming up with stuff. You and I, did I not tell you, you and I could just have
Figure it out.
nothing in advance and BS for an hour and be able to go ahead and get away with it?
Never been a problem for us, man.
So talky about pop
Yeah.
culture, and we always bring up stuff. Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, that. But any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
No, I think that's it. I think we got it.
All right, my friend. Josh Peterson, the happy hoarder himself, please go ahead and follow Humanity Media on YouTube. Give it a like, give it a follow, give it a subscribe, and then, of course, everything that we do here at the Pop Culture Cosmos as well. The Super BS Gamescast, if you're listening to it on audio, please go ahead and give it that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. And I should say, while Brank is away again, maybe we should go ahead and do a combino episode next week as well, my friend. Shh,
Oh,
don't tell her.
yeah.
Super BS